It was a booming time filled with new technologies such as the Model T Ford, electric typewriter, and airplane. Teddy Roosevelt was a man of the people and was the first president to give the workforce the benefit of the doubt. It was the start of a new century, the 1900s. Although it was glamorous and filled with excitement for some people, others weren't so lucky. Immigrants were given the short end of the stick when the American dream they came to achieve seemed distant and impossible to reach. Many immigrants fell prone to terrible paying jobs with hazardous conditions. In particular, the meatpacking industry. This is a story of Upton Sinclair's attempt to demonstrate the unfavorable conditions of immigrants in Chicago and the meatpacking industry. The E, True Hollywood Story. I aimed for the public's heart, and by accident I hit it in the stomach. Upton Sinclair was quoted saying this because his intention was to demonstrate the unfavorable conditions of immigrants in Chicago.
I was born in Lithuania in 1890 and moved to America when I was 2. My parents moved to a city named Chicago looking for a job and place to live. My dad found a job at the slaughterhouse for barely any pay, but it was all that was available.
If it weren't for Upton Sinclair in his publication of The Jungle, the Meat Inspection Act of 1906 would not have happened, and many, many more people would have gotten killed from this contaminated meat. Although the public took Upton Sinclair's rendition of The Jungle as an awareness check on the meatpacking industry, Upton Sinclair's intention was to demonstrate the unfavorable conditions of the immigrants in Chicago in the early 1900s.
When I turned 13, I worked alongside my father in the slaughterhouse, and the conditions were unbearable and sanitation did not seem to exist.
Before the Inspection Act of 1906, there were no accurate labeling of the food products at all. Rather, the Jungle let out an uproar against the industrial abuse and unsanitary conditions of the meatpacking industry.
Not only were we scraping by with the money from the slaughterhouse, but the house that we bought was difficult to maintain. The bills were too expensive and we barely had enough money for food and water.
There were no sanitation regulations taking place in these factories, and so as a result, many people got sick, and they got worms, and they got salmonella. Upton Sinclair described the horrors of the meatpacking industry in order to symbolize the unsuccessful and troubled lifestyles of the generations of immigrants in the 20th century.
Thousands of animals were butchered every day, and a lot of the meat that was packaged was tainted with disease or raw materials laying around the meatpacking industry.
In World War I, more people were killed by this infected meat than actual bullets. How do you explain that? The American dream is nearly impossible to reach because hard work and morality aren't always enough to get to the top.
Soon, when the paychecks were cut, we did not have enough money to pay off the house. My family was evicted from the house, and I had to resort to prostitution to have enough money just to survive.
To Theodore Roosevelt, the President of the United States at that time was so worried from the jungle that he's the one that made the Inspection Act in the first place because he was so worried about the meat. Although it seems like Upton Sinclair is directly attacking the concept of the American dream, but truly, capitalism, graft, and greed are the true benefactors that attack the American dream. In Upton Sinclair's rendition of the jungle, he gives these very graphic description of these slaughterhouses. How they just sweep up the extra meat on the floor and just can it right away. That's unsanitary. Upton Sinclair dedicated the jungle to all the working men in America, and to this day, Upton Sinclair has changed the face of the food industry forever.